Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chantel, and as promised in my last video, I'm doing in this video my April wrap-up for the films and television shows that I watched in April. So the previous video was my reading recap for the month of April, where I went through all the books that I read. And so now this is my sort of viewing recap, where I'm going through all the movies and the TV shows that I watched this month. So without further ado, I don't see any reason not to go ahead and get started. I'll start with the films. In April, I actually had kind of a slow movie watching month. I think in large part because I was watching a lot more television in April. So I only watched 7 movies in April, which is a relatively low number for me. I average 2 to 3 movies a week for the most part. The month of April definitely dropped my average a little bit. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind on my general sort of movie watching goals for the year. On a couple of different levels. I actually am currently sitting at fewer films for the year so far than I am at books. Like, I'm nearly at my goal of 50 books for the year already. I'm still at sort of in the sort of 45-ish movie range for the year, which is fine. It just feels a little bit weird to me because normally I watch a lot more movies than I read books. But anyway, so in April I watched only 2 films for my Criterion Challenge list. So the Criterion Challenge is a movie watching challenge that's literally run by a guy on Letterboxd, who every year, for the past few years, he creates a list of 52 prompts. And like with a reading challenge, a year-long reading challenge, everybody who participates is encouraged to pick a film from the Criterion collection for each of the 52 prompts and try to watch them throughout the course of the year. So again, I'm behind on this challenge. This is the second time I've tried this the second year in a row that I've tried this challenge. I didn't manage to complete it in 2023 either. But that's okay. As I said with reading challenges, it's more about like just encouraging me, giving me a list of titles that I know I want to watch as a way to kind of narrow down my watch list, because my watch list on Letterboxd is enormous and it never gets smaller because I'm always adding titles to it. So anyway, the 2 films that I watched for the Criterion Challenge in April, the first was Roma, directed by Alfonso Cuarón. And this was released in 2018. This was for the challenge prompt, I believe, that was to watch a Netflix produced or released film that's in the Criterion collection. There are a handful of these nowadays, and Roma was one that I had not yet seen. And it was nominated for some Oscars. It's a quite good movie. It's very much a sort of slice of life period piece film. It's set in the neighborhood of Roma in Mexico City, which is the neighborhood that Alfonso Cuarón grew up in the 1970s, I believe. And it's a sort of kind of an upstairs downstairs sort of slice of life story about this upper middle class family and their housekeeper. The housekeeper that they employ, this young woman. The family is white, the young woman is indigenous Mexican, and so there's a lot of interplay between the family and this young woman. There's a whole storyline in which she discovers that she's pregnant and has to go through a pregnancy, and just it's very slice of life. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I rated it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd. It was quite good. The ending was very affecting for me. The other film that I watched for the Criterion Challenge in April is a film called Yi, and this was directed by Edward Yang. He was a Taiwanese filmmaker, and this was released in the year 2000. This is another one that's very sort of slow burn, slice of life, family melodrama situation, except that it's set in Taiwan. In the contemporary, it's contemporary, so it was set in like Taiwan in the late 90s, in I think in Taipei, and it's mostly just about this family and every member in this family is sort of going through their own individual struggles in various ways. And it's kind of about just a period of time in which this family is sort of going through this struggle period. And again, it's just very thoughtful, it's very philosophical, it's very it's very slice of life. Again, I also gave it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd. I thought it was very good, very moving, a beautiful movie, frankly. And it was my first Edward Yang film. Unlike Roma, which I've seen several Alfonso Cuarón films, and I know that I enjoy his filmmaking style. I had never seen an Edward Yang film before. I actually do have another Edward Yang film on my list for the Criterion Challenge this year, so I'll be definitely, I'm even more looking forward to trying to find the time for that one, though that is a very long movie. It's a 4-hour long movie, so I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to it, but I'm hopefully going to actually get around to it sometime this year. So anyway, those are the 2 films I watched for the Criterion Challenge this year, in the month of April. The other films, I saw all of them in the theater. So I did attend a 25th anniversary screening of The Mummy, directed by Stephen Sommers, of course, obviously released in 1999. This was a super fun experience. I don't believe I saw The Mummy originally in the theater when it was originally released. It's, a really fun adventure film. Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are just completely charming in this film. It's super cheesy, which is exactly what I wanted, and just thoroughly enjoyable. And also the horror elements of it many of them are still very effective. I was very impressed by some of the, Stephen Sommers has a really good eye for some of those horror moments, and the tension building and the making things scary in dark hallways and things like that. It was a very fun experience. I also watched, I saw Monkey Man, which was directed by Dev Patel. I'm not going to say too much about this film because I did talk about it in another video already. So I'll probably just link to that or something. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. This was Dev Patel's directorial debut. I really enjoyed Dev Patel. I loved his filmmaking style in this movie. And I greatly look forward to seeing what he does next. Then I saw the most recent Alex Garland film, Civil War, which I enjoyed, but I definitely have some mixed feelings about. I thought, the performances are good, the writing was decent, it was definitely effective at what it did. I'm just not always entirely sure what it's trying to do. So that was definitely an interesting experience for me. And then I saw Guy Ritchie's new film, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. And this is another one of Guy Ritchie's sort of sillier films, sort of along the lines of the Sherlock Holmes films, which frankly I enjoy. I like it when Guy Ritchie is silly. I know some people don't and have problems with it, but I thought this movie was very fun. It is based very loosely on a true story, but I mean, really, it's just an excuse to watch Henry Cavill and these other attractive people just sort of run around killing Nazis. I came because I wanted to watch Henry Cavill kill some Nazis, and I was not disappointed in that. It was a very fun time. And the final movie I saw in April is the new Luca Guadagnino film, Challengers, starring Zendaya. This is the the tennis love triangle movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Again, Luca Guadagnino is someone whose style I really appreciate. Um, he's definitely having a good time with it. Everybody in this film was clearly having a very good time. It's really it's a really fun, fresh, sexy movie for grown-ups that doesn't it feels like these movies just don't get made very often anymore, where it's like an R-rated sexy relationship drama for grown-ups. It just these movies don't ever seem to happen very much anymore, and I feel like it's a real shame because it's good. It's an enjoyable film, and the actors are all really good in it. I really enjoy Zendaya. I think she's a great actress, and I think she does a really, really good job in this movie. She was very fun to watch in this movie, and she was clearly having a really great time. So that was a thoroughly enjoyable film for me. As another 4.5 stars. I don't think I gave anything less than 4 stars in the month of April, at least in terms of films that I watched. So quality over quantity, I suppose. Yeah, Civil War is probably the one that I liked the least, and I still gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. So yeah, definitely quality over quantity in the month of April. So that was kind of my month in movies. And now I'll talk about some of the TV shows that I watched in April. I watched some good ones in April. First and probably foremost, Shogun ended in April. So we got the finale of Shogun. And let me say, it was an excellent, excellent television experience. I'm not even really sure what else to say about Shogun except that it is practically perfect in every possible way. If you have not watched Shogun, if you haven't given it a shot yet, please do. It's really good. It is really worth your time. It is one of the best TV shows I've seen in several years. Every moment of it is just beautiful, incredibly well written, performances that are subtle and nuanced and amazing, and just it was really good. It was a very, very good television show. Please, please, please watch Shogun. Of the other TV shows that I watched in April, I watched The Three Body Problem on Netflix. This is another one where I have not read the book yet. The book is in my to-read pile. It's just one of those things where it's going to be a while before I get to it probably, so I just went ahead and watched the show. I did enjoy the television show. I think that they did a relatively good job with it. I think that it's not an immediate new favorite of mine, but it definitely is interesting, and it made me want to read the book. So that's really all I have to say about Three Body Problem, honestly. Some good performances. It was decent enough writing, I would say. Yeah, it's not the best thing I've ever seen in my life, but it was definitely interesting, and I did enjoy the process of everything sort of coming together and the confusion sort of lifting as the different threads of the storyline sort of came together, and you gain this understanding of what's actually going on. I thought that was done pretty well, so that's that. And then I also, on Netflix, watched Ripley, which is the new limited series adaptation of the Patricia Highsmith Talented Mr. Ripley novel, starring Andrew Scott as Thomas Ripley. And I primarily watched this because I really enjoy Andrew Scott. And also, I like the vibe. I like Talented Mr. Ripley. It's a fun story. It's a really enjoyable, classic con artist story, and the vibes on this show are really immaculate. It's beautifully shot, it's beautifully atmospheric, And Andrew Scott is a very, very talented actor. He's one of my favorite actors working today. I will watch him in pretty much anything that I can find him in, that I can see him in. And, you know, he's an excellent actor and he does really well with the material given. I would say a lot of other things about this particular limited series were not quite as interesting to me. Frankly, I think it was way too long. I think it probably could have been 5 episodes instead of 8. By the end of it, I was like, this was a lot of television, and it was a very, very slow burn. And again, I'm the kind of person that I like a good slow burn. I like a good character study, and there's a lot of character study in this. Like, we really get into, like, you really spend a lot of time with Ripley in this series. We really see everything that's going on. And there's one episode in particular that was like this weird cross between like a Hitchcockian suspense film, like a Dial M for Murder, and like Weekend at Bernie's. It was wild. And that was like probably the best episode for me. I think that was like episode 5. It was pretty good, but it was just, there was too much of it. It did not need to go on as long as it did. I was like, again, I don't like to say that, like, I rarely find things boring. Like, I watched like a 3-hour slice of life movie in the month of April, and I didn't find it boring at all, right? But this 8-hour limited series probably could have been 5 or 6 easily, and it did not have to be as long as it was. Like, the final episode of this show was an hour, and it was 75 minutes long. It was an hour and 15 minutes long. It didn't need to be. It really didn't need to be. Not for the ending to pay off, not for the character arcs to pay off. It didn't need it. So yeah, that was kind of unfortunate. Yeah, it felt like a slog. And it felt like I want to be done with this so that I can move on to whatever else I'm going to be watching next. So that was that on that. So that's probably like a B-, C+ kind of show. Again, like, you know, I'm glad I watched it because, again, I really enjoy watching Andrew Scott work. Like, he's cooking in this. He's really cooking in this. He's doing great work. But other than that, like, it wasn't really all that worth it for me. And then I watched, also on Netflix, I watched a lot of Netflix this month because I tend to sort of subscribe and unsubscribe to Netflix off and on. So I tend to watch a lot of Netflix at once. So then I watched Dead Boy Detectives on Netflix. So this is the brand new series that just released in April. I watched it within a week of its release. It's a Sandman spin-off. So it's a spin-off of the Sandman universe, the Neil Gaiman Sandman. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought the vibes were perfect. I thought the performances were excellent. It struck for me just exactly the perfect tone of simultaneously very campy and often kind of ridiculous, and also simultaneously very earnest and very emotionally grounded in its characters, and I really enjoyed the hell out of it. It was super fun. Yeah, I highly recommend this series, especially if you're like at all on the fence about it. Please watch it. Because once again, in our current capitalist hellscape, the only way to make sure that shows like this get renewed, and we definitely want this show to get renewed, is to try to get people to watch it as much as possible. Because Netflix really only cares about the numbers. So yeah, it's definitely worth your time. It's definitely worth your time. Even if it doesn't get a second season, the first season is quite good. And I mean, it comes together quite well. It definitely, they intend to want to continue it, but also the first season is a relatively self-contained storyline. So it's not like you're only getting like a third of a story if you watch the first season and then it doesn't get renewed. But yeah, Dead Boy Detectives on Netflix. It was very good. I had a really good time watching it. I devoured this show. And then another show that I started to watch, because it's a weekly release, it's still going, so I don't have a ton to say about it yet, but it is another one on Hulu, and that is Under the Bridge. This is a true crime story, a limited series based on it's based on a book, but it's also based on the case of a murdered teenage girl in Canada in the late 90s. And I'm primarily watching this because Lily Gladstone is in it, and I really, really like Lily Gladstone, and she's another one of those actors that I will see her in whatever she chooses to be in. And so far I am enjoying it. It's a very compelling so far. I think it's 4 episodes in at this point. I'm not sure how many there's going to be, probably 7 or 8. I would assume most shows these days are like in the 8 to 10 episode range, so I assume that's going to be more or less what's going on here. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm very interested in seeing where it goes. It's a bit of an unconventional true crime story, I feel like. I don't want to say too much more than that, because I think it definitely is a good idea to sort of watch it and see how it unfolds, because if I explained it, that would kind of ruin the effect of it in a way. So like it is, but it's definitely an interesting and compelling story, and I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm looking forward to the next episodes, and to see how it sort of concludes over the next few episodes. So yeah, that is pretty much so yeah, I watched a lot of TV in April, so that probably explains why I didn't watch quite as many movies. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to several television things in May, especially the return of Interview with the Vampire, and also the return of Doctor Who. Both of those shows are coming very soon, or they're starting up again very soon. I'm very excited for both of them. I'm going to be on top of that shit for both of them. I'm very excited. First shoot you got was Doctor in Doctor Who, and I can't wait to see where they go with it, and with what he does with the character over these next several episodes. I think it's going to be a blast. And Interview with the Vampire is like, oh man, that show is so good. It was definitely one of my favorite shows of 22. Like, ooh, it was really good. That first season of Interview with the Vampire it's immaculate. It's immaculate. Yeah, so and I forgot to say, Dead Boy Detectives is as queer as it seems. It's very queer. Watch queer shows. So is Interview with the Vampire. Interview with the Vampire is so queer. Watch queer shows. In fact, I think Doctor Who is also getting really queer lately, even more queer than it was before. Watch queer shows. Watch queer shows. But yeah, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Obviously there's always movies that I'm looking forward to, though of course I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm my brain is fuzzy, but there's always movies that I'm looking forward to. Also, I'm pretty sure my local art house theater is going to be screening the National Theater production of Nye, starring Michael Sheen at some point in May, which I'm looking forward to. Michael Sheen is another actor whom I will always follow. I will watch whatever he's in, whatever is available to me. So yeah, there's a lot that I'm looking forward to in the month of May. We're already getting started. I've also just recently started watching Fallout, which is also extremely good. I'm having a really good time with it. So, yeah, that's it for my movies and television shows in the month of April recap. What have you been watching lately? Any good movies, any good TV shows? Leave them in the comments below, because as with books, I'm always looking for recommendations for things to watch, things to add to my Letterboxd watch list, to my serialized watch list. And yeah, if you liked the video, please leave a like. If you want to subscribe to my channel, feel free to do that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.